Ang topic natin ngayon is about units and dimensions, which falls under our general engineering category. So, we will be using this same video sa mga topics natin in chemistry, in physics, and mathematics. So, on this topic, we will be discussing about dimension and units, the systems of units, the classifications of dimensions and units, and unit conversion. So, wag na nating patagalin pa and let us dive into our discussion. Okay, so our topic is about units and dimensions. Well, for sure, aware na kayo sa mga examples na to. Well, on this example, ipinapakita yung distance or kung gaano pa kalayo yung isang lugar mula sa kinatatayuan mo. On this example naman, pinapakita kung gaano kabigat yung isang sako ng bigas na nakikita mo ngayon. And if you have a timer, makikita mo naman dito kung ilang minuto pa ang natitira bago mag-set yung alarm mo. Well, these are some examples of the important uses ng units and dimensions. So let us begin by defining what is a dimension. Dimensions are our basic concept of measurement, such as length, time, mass, temperature, etc. Well, basically what we mean by dimension is those things that we are measuring. Kagaya ng mga examples natin na nasa taas, yung distance, mini-measure natin, yung weight, mini-measure natin, as well as time. And what we mean by units? Units are the means of expressing the dimension, such as feet or meter when we are talking about length, and hours or seconds when we are talking about time. So basically what we mean here is that the unit is the one responsible in providing us an idea what a particular dimension or measurement is. So let us have an example about length. So we have here an example of 10 kilometers. So as you can see, we have here a number which is not fundamentally dimensionless. And then we attach a unit beside the number that we have. Now by concept, even though hindi pa natin siya pinag-aaralan, we know that when we say 10 kilometers, we are referring to a distance. Okay, so you never heard anybody na nagtanong kung ilang kilometer na yung timbang mo, no? Or how many kilometer left before 3 o'clock. So we know that when we talk about kilometer, we are referring to distance. And that is one of the major indication ng uses of dimensions and units para madali nating maintindihan kung ano ba yung pinag-uusapan natin na particular dimension or measurement. Well, since in our lecture we'll be using these units in dimension in calculations, so it's better to talk about ano ba yung mga benefits of using units and dimensions in problem solving. So first, it diminishes the possibility of errors in your calculations. Second, it reduces the intermediate calculations and time in problem solving. It is a logical approach to the problem rather than remembering a formula and substituting numbers into the formula. And finally, it's easy interpretation of the physical meaning of the numbers you use. So yan yung ine-explain ko earlier para madali nating ma-interpret kung ano ba yung number na nakikita natin. Now, to understand this clearly, we have to talk about the language of engineers and scientists. Now, we know that when people talk or communicate, they are using different language. So, it can be Filipino, English, Japanese, Mandarin, Korean, Arabic, Hindi, or kung ano-ano pa. Napakaraming language ang available sa mundo ngayon. No? Now, engineers and scientists don't just communicate using words. We also use carefully defined numerical descriptions. So, in other words, engineers and scientists talks using numbers as well. So, it is very important na pareho yung language na ginagamit nyo kapag nag-uusap kayo. The same way kung paano nag-uusap ang dalawang tao using languages na meron tayo. So for example, merong nag-uusap na dalawang tao and they are using different languages. Well, one of them should be able to translate, okay, the language para magkaintindihan silang dalawa. Well, the same way when we are talking about numbers or units and dimensions. For example, one person is talking about 10 kilometers and the other person is talking about 10 miles. So as you can see, numerically, pareho silang 10. And they are both talking about length. So parehong distance yung pinag-uusapan natin dito. But one is 10 kilometers and one is 10 miles. So pareho ba yan? Well, in other words, meron silang pinagkaiba in language. So kung papaanong nag-uusap yung dalawang tao na magkaiba yung language and one of them should adjust, ganun din naman when we are talking about units and dimension. One of them should adjust para magkaintindihan silang dalawa, no? So let us talk about ano ba yung mga languages na to when we speak about units and dimensions. Okay, so here are the commonly used system of units. Well, at least these are the units that we are going to use in our discussions, no? So dalawa lang yung ipe-present ko rito. So we have the SI system of units or yung tinatawag nating International System of Units and the American Engineering System of Units. Okay, so here are some examples of SI units and the American Engineering Units. So ipagkukumpara natin sila dahil magkaiba nilang nire-represent yung units and dimensions. For example, for the length, in SI units, they are presenting it in meter or m, while in American Engineering, they are presenting it in foot. Now for mass, in SI units, it is expressed in kilogram or kg, while in American Engineering, it is expressed in pounds. Now, ganun din naman sa iba pang mga dimensions. So, kanina ipinakita ko sa inyo yung 10 miles and 10 kilometers, no? So, pareho silang nag-express ng length. Pero, ang tanong natin is, pareho ba sila in terms of dimension? Okay? So, magkaibang language kasi sila magkaibang units. So, magbibigay tayo ngayon ng another example. So, for mass, we have kilogram in SI unit. And in American Engineering, we have pounds. Okay? So, we are talking about mass here. So, ipagkumpara natin, ilan yung 1 kilogram compared to 1 pound. So, have a look at this example. No? On the left is 1 pound and on the right is 1 kilogram. So, makikita ninyo na even though they are numerically equal, in terms of magnitude, magkaiba sila. Okay? Magkaiba sila ng weight. And the same goes in distance or in other dimensions. And it is very important na alam natin yan. Because, you know, some countries, they are following SI units or metric system, and the other countries are following American Engineering or English units, no? So, when they express any dimension, for example, in streets, they're automatically referring sa units that they are using on their particular country. So, for example, on this picture na nakikita ninyo, no? In Canada, they are using metric system, and in USA, they are using the American Engineering. So, in driving, you have to consider yung unit ng speed na ginagamit mo when you are in a particular country. You need to understand, are they using American Engineering unit or SI units? Now, in order to know kung you are within the limit or kung ano man yung gusto mong malaman na dimension, you need to learn about the conversion of units. So, dito na pumapasok yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina na one should adjust in order to communicate to the other person, no? So in here, para ma-compare mo yung SI unit into American Engineering unit, you need to convert the unit. Maaring from SI unit to American Engineering or from American Engineering to SI units. So, we can make an analogy dun sa kaninang example natin na mayroong dalawang individual na nag-uusap, no? Halimbawa, yung isa is using a Japanese language at yung isa naman is English. So, para magkaintindihan sila, one should translate their language to another, no? Para mag-meet ang communication nila. So, the same way, instead of translation, in here we are using conversion. We will talk about that later on this video. And magbibigay tayo ng mga example how to convert units. But first, let us talk about classification of units and dimensions. First, we have the fundamental or basic dimensions or units. So these are those that can be measured independently and are sufficient to describe essential physical quantities. So this is a standalone unit, no? Halimbawa, yung meter in terms of length or yung kilogram in terms of weight. So it is very independent, no? When you measure, you are immediately referring to one particular physical quantity. So let us see some examples here. So ito yung mga example ng fundamental units. So we have length, mass, time, electric current, temperature, luminous intensity, and the amount of substance which is expressed in mole. So when we measure this particular quantity, the units that we are using is immediately representing a particular physical quantity. I think it will be easier to understand if we define the other class of units and dimension. And we have here what we call the derived dimensions or units. These are those that can be developed in terms of the fundamental dimensions or units. In other words, these are the combination of one or more fundamental dimension or units. So here are some examples. So as you can see, we have here area, volume, speed, density, acceleration, force, energy, pressure, and there are a lot more derived units available, no? So anong ibig sabihin yan? Combination of one or more fundamental dimensions. For example, let's talk about speed. So in speed, you can see we have here distance and unit time, which is expressed in meters per seconds. Okay? So as you can see, nag-combine tayo ng dalawang fundamental units here. So we combine yung length and time. And that's what we mean by derived dimensions. We are combining one or more fundamental units to express another quantity or property. Now let's talk about the common premises that we use in SI units. So most of these are familiar already to you, no? So gumagamit tayo ng term na giga, mega, kilo, centi, milli, okay? Ginagamit natin to sa iba't ibang reasons. And the most popular right now is when we are talking about the space in your computer, no? In which what we call, for example, bytes. So this is our base units when we are talking about the space in your computer. So when we say kilo, we mean 1,000, as you can see here. That's why when we say 1 kilobytes, we actually mean 1,000 bytes. And when we say 1 megabytes, we mean 1 million bytes. Okay, so that's how we apply it. So it's the same here in other dimensions. So why do we use these prefixes? So basically, we use this to easily express very large number. So for example, when we are talking about 1 billion. So instead of writing this number, we can just write 1 gigabyte, for example. Okay? So instead of writing this number, we will be telling 1 gigabytes. We will be saying 1 gigabytes. So we use it to express very large or very low number. So let us give some example here. We have here 1,000 grams. So the easiest way to express this is to use this kilo sign. Now we can convert this by using dimension analysis, no? So for example, here we have 1,000 grams. So we can see here that we have 1,000 of our base unit. So in here, our base unit is gram. So we will have here 1,000 gram for 1 kilogram. Okay? So since we have grams in numerator and grams in denominator, this will be cancelled out. So the units will remain is kilogram. So 1,000 grams divided by 1,000 grams is cancelled. So we have here 1 kilogram. So therefore, 1,000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram. So this is the same what we did here. 1 kilobytes is equal to 1,000 bytes. So 1,000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram. Now we have here 2,000 grams. So we'll do the same now. We have 2,000 grams times 1,000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram. So this will be cancelled out. And then we can perform the division now. So we have here 2,000 divided by 1,000. We have 2 kilogram. Okay. And now let us talk about the unit conversion. Well, let's go back to our previous analogy. Now, let's say the languages now is SI unit, American Engineering, English, and the metric units. So, para magkaintindihan sila, one should translate the language. So, in this case, we are converting units. So, it's either the SI units will be converted to American Engineering, or the American Engineering will be converted to SI units. And we do that by using a conversion factor. Now, you can find these conversion factors in a conversion table. Now, along with this lecture video, may makikita kayong link. You can click on that link, then you can download yung conversion table na pinrepare namin. And magagamit ninyo yun sa inyong mga calculation sa mga problems na ibibigay namin later on. But for the sake of this presentation, we will be using these useful conversion factors. Okay, so itong gagamitin natin sa mga examples natin ngayon. Okay, so let us solve some examples here. So let us convert the following dimensions in unit. So A, we have 3 miles to feet. So ito yung ko-convert natin. So we are discussing about length here. So ito yung gagamitin nating mga units. Okay, so sulat ko muna yung given natin, 3 miles. And then, we want to express it into unit feet. Okay? So, let's do it this way. So, isusulat ko dito kung ano yung requirement natin. So, we have here feet. So, at the end, yan ang dapat nating makuha. Now, we will use these conversion factors. And here, you can see that 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. So, we can use that conversion factor. It means na yung 1 mile is just equal to 5,200 feet. So, let's say you have here this length. And you said that this length is equal to 1 mile. So, we also mean that this length is equal to 5,280 feet. Therefore, if you divide the two, 1 mile divided by 5,280 feet, this is basically equal to 1. Dahil equal lang yung length nila as we have seen dito sa ginawa nating example. No? So, any number when you multiply by 1 is equal to the number itself. So, itong conversion natin, kung i-multiply natin siya dito sa ating conversion factor, nothing will change. We're just converting the units, no? So, when we use that, kailangan makancel tong unit ng given natin until we achieve itong unit na required natin. So, how do we do that? Kailangan, kung nasa numerator yung unit mo, the same unit will be on the denominator para mag-cancel out yung units natin. So, in this case, 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. So, as you can see, no, nasa numerator yung 3 miles natin. So, nung nag-convert tayo, nasa denominator yung mile natin. So, everything na nasa numerator, i-multiply natin. Everything na nasa denominator, i-multiply natin. And then, we will divide the numerator by the denominator. So, kapag dinivide natin yung 3 miles sa 1 mile, yung unit natin na mile will be cancelled out. So, ang may iwan sa atin yung unit ng feet. Now, to get our answer, we'll have here 3 times 5,280 feet is equal to 15,840 feet. 15,840 feet. Okay, so yan ang ating answer sa first question. Then, next question, we have 3 yards to centimeters. So, pareho pa rin unit length. So, the same pa rin yung gagamitin natin conversion factor. Pero, meron tayong centimeter dito, no? So, gagamitin natin tong table natin ng prefices. Okay, so let's begin. Ang given natin is 3 yards. And then, ang gusto nating makuha is yung unit na centimeter. Okay? So, dito sa ating conversion table, we can see that we have here 1 meter is equal to 1.0936 yard. So, para ma-cancel yung yard natin, ilalagay natin siya sa denominator. So, 1.0936 yard. Numerator natin is 1 meter. Okay, so gagamitin natin yung table natin ng prefices. So, here, ang base unit natin is meter. Dahil ang pinag-uusapan natin is yung length. So, itong nakikita nating value dito, it tells us kung ilang meter meron sa 1 centimeter. So, in order to use that dito sa ating example, it means we have 0.01 meter in 1 centimeter. Okay? So, let us cancel yung mga units na nasa numerator and denominator. We have yards, cancel out. We have meter, cancel out. So, ang naiwan is yung centimeter sa numerator. So, let us now calculate. We have 3 on the numerator divided by 1.0936 and divided by 0.01 sa denominator. So, our answer will be 274.32 centimeter. Well guys, kung nalilito kayo sa paggamit nitong prefices natin for small numbers, dahil mahirap tandaan itong mga numbers na nakikita ninyo dito or dito, well, you can do this in another way. I will give you an example. So, let's say you have 1 centimeter. As you can see dito sa table natin, yung 1 centimeter is equal to 0.01 meter, right? So, centi yan. So, it can be other units, no? So ang base unit natin dito sa example natin is meter, no? Well, ang hirap kasi tandaan nitong conversion na to dahil very small number siya tapos may decimal point pa, no? So, you can do it this way, no? So, since 1 centimeter is equal to 0.01 meter, let us convert how many centimeter are there in 1 meter. So, let's say 1 meter is equal to how many centimeter. Okay? So, convert natin siya, no? So, ang ginawa natin kanina, 1 meter. So, i-multiply natin ngayon siya sa nakikita natin dito, no? In 1 centimeter, we have 0.01 meter. So, maka-cancel out yung unit natin. So, we have 1 divided by 0.01. So, if you calculate that, this will be equal to 100 centimeter. Therefore, ito ang pwede mong tandaan na conversion. In 1 meter, you have 100 centimeter. So, kapag ka meron kang i-convert na value, halimbawa, you need to convert 550 centimeter to meter, So, hindi mo na kailangan tandaan itong napakahirap na conversion na to, no? So, you can use this. So, we have 550 centimeter times 100 centimeter in 1 meter. So, you can cancel this out, and then your answer will be 5.5 meters. Okay? So, mas madali na siyang matandaan ngayon. So, another example, no? 1 millimeter is equal to 0.001 meter. So, ito yung pinag-uusapan natin ngayon. Diba? So, medyo mahirap siyang tandaan. So, we'll do the same, no? Ilang millimeter meron sa 1 meter. So, ilang millimeter? Okay? So, 1 meter times. So, ilang meter meron in 1 millimeter? So, we have here 1 millimeter. You have 0.001 meters. So, magka-cancel out yung units natin. So, 1 divided by 0.001 is equal to 1,000. Therefore, 1 meter is equal to 1,000 millimeters. So, mas madali siyang tandaan, no? So, itong gagamitin ninyong conversion factors. So, you can do the same sa iba pang mga units natin ng small numbers. So, if you do that, itong makukuha ninyo. So, ang prefaces natin for base unit na meter. Ang example natin dito, ang base unit natin is meter. So, 1 meter is equal to 10 decimeter. 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter. 1 meter is equal to 1,000 millimeter. 1 meter is equal to 1 million micrometer. And 1 meter is equal to 1 billion nanometer. So, mas madaling gamitin to guys, kaya ito na lang yung tandaan ninyong conversion natin. Okay, so let's proceed sa next problem natin. So, we will convert 2,500 grams to pounds. So, now we are talking about weight. So, ito yung gagamitin nating conversion factors. Okay, so ang given natin is 2,500 grams. And we want to convert it to pounds. Okay, so we have these units here, no? So, gamitin natin yan. But, this is expressed in kilogram. So, gagamitin uli natin yung prefaces natin, no? So, sinolve natin to last time. So, we know that 1,000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram. Okay, so gamitin na natin tong conversion natin ngayon dito, no? So, we have 0.454 kilogram is equal to 1 pound. Okay, so ang gagawin natin, i-divide natin yung numerator by our denominator. So, 2,500 divided by 1,000 is equal to 2.5 divided by 0.454, which is equal to 5.506. So, anong unit natin dito, no? So, yung grams will be cancelled out, kilograms will be cancelled out, may iwan yung unit na pound. So, we have 5.506 pounds. So, yan ang sagot natin dito. Next problem, 3,000 cubic centimeter to gallons. Okay, so volume ang pinag-uusapan natin. Ito yung conversion ng unit natin. Okay, so simulan na natin. Ang given natin is 3,000 cubic centimeter. And ang final answer na kailangan natin is in gallons. Okay, so we have here cubic centimeter. Pwede natin i-convert sa milliliter. Okay, so we have here 1 cubic centimeter to 1 milliliter. And then, from milliliter, i-convert natin to liter. So we have 1,000 milliliter in 1 liter. So galing to sa prefices natin kanina, no? And then, from liter to gallon, ito yung gagamitin natin. 1 gallon is equal to 3.7854 liters. So we have 3.7854 liter in 1 gallon. Okay, so ano yung magiging unit natin dito? Cubic centimeter will be cancelled out, milliliter will be cancelled out, and liters will be cancelled out. So finally, ang magiging answer natin is in gallons. So numerically, it will be like this, no? 3,000 divided by 1,000 divided by 3.785. Okay, then ang unit natin is gallon, which is equal to 0.793 gallons. Okay, this is our final answer. Okay, so mag-start na tayo sa derived units, no? So we have here 200 meters per second to miles per hour. So we are talking about speed. And to do that, we need the conversion factor for length. So we have here length and time. So far, wala pa akong binigay na conversion unit ng time. But we are already doing that in clock problems in algebra. We know that in 1 hour, we have 60 minutes. And we know that in 1 minute, we have 60 seconds, di ba? So, how many seconds are there in 1 hour? So, we have 1 hour. We want to convert it into seconds. So, in 1 hour, we have 60 minutes. And in 1 minute, we have 60 seconds. So, cancel out yung units. So, we'll have in 1 hour, okay, 1 hour is equal to 60 times 60, which is 3,600 seconds. Okay? So, we will use this conversion factor dito sa ating problem. Okay? So, our given is 200 meters per seconds. Okay? So, we have this line here. Ang final answer na gusto nating makuha is in miles per hour. Well, i-separate natin yung units na nasa numerator at nasa denominator. So, we want to get a unit in miles per hour. So, kailangan, ang numerator mo is in miles, ang denominator mo is in hour. So, alisin natin to, lagay natin sa baba. So, we have 200 meters per seconds. Okay, so kailangan yung meters natin is ma-convert natin sa miles. So, paano natin gagawin yon? We have here 1 mile kung ilang kilometers. So i-convert muna natin yung meters natin into kilometers. So, we have 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. Okay? And then, gamitin na natin tong unit natin. We have 1.6093 kilometers in 1 mile. Okay, so naka-mile na yung numerator natin. So, yung denominator natin, kailangan maging R. So, gagamitin natin ngayon tong na-compute nating conversion. So, we have here 3,600 seconds to 1 R. So, i-cancel natin kung ano man yung mga units na maka-cancel natin. So, meter will be cancelled out. Kilometer will be cancelled out. Miles will retain. So, miles. Yan ang may iwan sa numerator. And then, yung seconds, maka-cancel out. So, numerically, we have here 200 times 3,600 over 1,000 over 1.6093. Ang magiging unit natin is itong miles and R. So, we have here units miles per hour. So, which is equal to 447 miles per hour. So, ito yung final answer natin sa question na to. Now, let us go to our next problem. We will convert 12 kg per liter to pounds per milliliter. So, we're talking about mass, and we will use a preface here, no? Yung liter to milliliter. Well, alam naman na natin yan. Nag-solve na tayo kanina. So, let us proceed na. So, our given is 12 kg per liter. Okay, so, sagutan natin. Sorry, okay, nasira yung line natin. And final answer natin dapat in pounds per milliliter. Okay, so first unahin natin itong denominator natin. Mas madali. We have 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliter. Next, kilogram, i-convert natin sa pound. So, ito yung conversion natin. 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2046 pounds. So, aling mga units yung maka-cancelled out? Kilogram will be cancelled out. Liters will be cancelled out. So, ang unit na matitira sa atin is pounds per milliliter, which is yung required natin. So, numerically, this is 12 times 2.2046 divided by 1,000. Ang unit is pounds per milliliter. Okay? Which is equal to 0.026 pounds per milliliter. And this is our final answer. Now we have a bonus problem here. Well, actually, tapos na yung ating lecture, but since we will be using this also in our chemistry lectures, I want to include this in our discussion here. Because this is the same concept na gagamitin natin in converting units. So, let's say we have a container with a volume of 500 milliliter, no? And it is half full. Let's say this is half the volume. Okay? How many moles of water, so water yung nasa loob niya, are there inside the container? So, kunin muna natin yung volume ng water. So, ang volume ng water na nasa loob ng container is half the volume ng container. So, ang volume ng container natin is 500 milliliter. And half lang yung water, so, divide natin sa 2. So, we have 250 milliliter of water. So, ang hinahanap dito is how many moles of water are there inside the container. Okay, so ang given natin is 250 milliliter of water. Okay, so ang kailangan nating makuha is how many moles of water ang equivalent ng 200 milliliters ng water. So first, let us assume it is at 25 degrees Celsius in which ang density ng water is 1 grams per 1 milliliter ng water. Okay? So, we have here 1 milliliter of water is 1 grams of water. Okay. Now, ano ba yung molecular weight ng water? Okay, so this is H2O. So, we have here 18 grams per mole. Yan ang molecular weight natin, and we learned this in our chemistry class. So we have 18 grams of water in 1 mole of water. So let's cancel out yung mga units, no? So we have milliliter of water and grams of water. So ang naiwan na lang sa numerator natin is yung moles ng water. So, numerically, this is equal to 250 divided by 18. which is, ang unit is in mole ng water. So, our answer here will be 250 divided by 18, which is equal to 13.89 moles ng water. Well, I hope guys this is clear to you, and marami pa tayong sasagutan na example problems in the next videos. So that is all for now, and I'll see you in our next video.